I'm Javier, my partner is Mei-Jun. We're Group 18 and we'll be covering indoor water use reduction, which is Prerequisite 2 and Credit 2 of water efficiency. We'll start off by discussing Prerequisite 2, which applies to new construction, core and shell, schools, retail, data centers, warehouses and distribution centers, hospitality, and healthcare. The intent of this prerequisite is to reduce indoor water consumption. This is done through the selection of efficient plumbing fittings, fixtures, equipment, which have the WaterSense label, which was developed by the US EPA, which makes it easier to select these products, which have the potential of reducing the water consumption of buildings by 20 to 50%. There are some important definitions for this section, which includes closed-loop cooling, which is a system that recirculates water that's used as a heat sink in buildings and medical equipment. Conductivity, which is a measurement of the amount of dissolved solids in water based on its ability to conduct electricity. There's potable water, which is water that meets EPA drinking water quality standards. Non-potable means that it's water that doesn't meet these standards. Processed water, water used in buildings, industrial processes, operational processes, cooling towers, boilers, etc. And we highly recommend looking at all the other definitions before moving forward.
There are three requirements for Prerequisite 2. The first one is for building water use. The second one is for appliance and process water use. The third one is for additional requirements for healthcare, retail, schools, and hospitality only. The first requirement covers building water use. This table shows the baseline consumption of certain fixtures and fittings, such as toilets, urinals, and shower heads. The total water consumption needs to be reduced by at least 20% from the baseline, the sum of which can be calculated using the table.
The second requirement applies to the appliance and process water use of buildings. Table 2 displays the requirements of certain appliances, including residential clothes washers and residential dishwashers, both of which must meet Energy Star or performance equivalent, commercial clothes washers, which must meet CE Tier 3A, pre-rinse spray valves, which must be less than or equal to 1.3 GPM, which is gallons per minute. The Energy Star is a US EPA voluntary program that is just meant to help businesses and individuals save money while also helping the environment. More information can be seen about CE tiers and Energy Star at the provided links. Part 2 of the second requirement covers standards for processes. For heat rejection and cooling, if potable water is used, for these processes, water must be recycled rather than used only once. Additionally, cooling towers and evaporative condensers must be equipped with makeup water meters, conductivity controllers, overflow alarms, and efficient drift eliminators that reduce drift to a maximum of 0.002% of recirculated water volume for counterflow towers and 0.005% of recirculated water flow for cross-flow towers.
Part 3 talks about additional requirements for healthcare, retail, schools, and hospitality. The maximum water usage for certain appliances, such as dishwasher, food steamer, and combination oven, are listed on the table. The maximum water usage for process requirements are also listed. For discharge water temperature tempering, there are 3 ways to deal with water temperature differences under different conditions. For Venturi type flow through vacuum generators or aspirators, we cannot use any device that generates vacuum by means of water flow through device into drain.
We'll now go through the steps of guiding you through the indoor water reduction use credit. Step 1 is to select compliance path. Step 2, select WaterSense labeled products. 3, select high efficiency fixtures. 4, select high efficiency appliances. 5, design process water systems. 6, develop cooling tower narrative if applicable. Step 1 requires you to determine and select the appropriate compliance path. Compliance path 1 is a prescriptive achievement for projects that don't have fixtures exceeding WaterSense maximum levels. Documentation is done using cut sheets or fixture schedules. Compliance path 2 requires a usage-based calculation, which is for projects that can't demonstrate 20% reduction for every fixture. The project team must show the fixtures comply with the Prereq requirements with calculations.
Step 2 of the guidance requires us to select WaterSense labeled products for all newly installed fixtures. Notice that there are also fixture types that are not labeled by WaterSense and must comply with the percentage reduction criteria. Also, using aerator is an acceptable water saving strategy. Step 3 is to select high efficiency fixtures that meet or exceed the 20% reduction indicated in the prerequisite requirements. Step 4. Select high efficiency appliances. It means to select appliances that meet the labeling or performance requirements outlined in the prerequisite requirements. Step 5 is to design water progress system by selecting and designing appliances and equipment that meet the standards for processed water in the prerequisite requirements. Step 6 is to develop cooling water narrative by describing the cooling tower or evaporative condenser system and addressing the meters, controllers, alarms, and features indicated in the credit requirements.
We'll next discuss the Indoor Water Use Reduction Credit 2, which applies to new construction, core and shell, schools, retail data centers, warehouses and distribution centers, hospitality and healthcare, all of which can earn up to 6 points, except for schools, retail, and healthcare, which can earn up to 7. The intent is to reduce indoor water consumption, specifically through water use reduction past the prerequisite level and potable water savings through alternative water source use. Before moving forward, we strongly recommend looking over the definitions of the following important terms for Credit 2 if you're not already familiar with them. For points to be earned in Credit 2, the building must reduce fixture and fitting water use further from the baseline calculated in the prerequisite credit. The following table shows the points for reducing water use for each percentage of reduction from fixture and fittings. For Credit 2, we'll go through the following steps. First, we'll complete the calculations in the prerequisite, then consider alternative water sources. Third, calculate additional savings from non-potable water use. And fourth, we'll select high-efficiency specialized appliance and process water systems, which is only specific for retail, healthcare, hospitality, and school projects. Step 1 is to complete the calculations in Prerequisite 2 of water efficiency. This will help determine the water savings from efficiency of fixtures and fittings. For Step 2, consider alternative water sources. First, evaluate alternatives to potable water. These include but are not limited to gray water, rainwater, stormwater, condensate on cooling systems, and dewatering water from foundation. However, this does not include raw water from natural bodies, groundwater, seawater, and water discharge from geothermal systems. Next, you must choose alternatives. It's recommended that these alternatives are chosen by first analyzing what needs the least treatment in the building. This includes toilet flushing and irrigation. For step 3, calculate the yearly total water savings if non-potable water source was used. The percentage of total water savings can be calculated by taking the sum of the annual base water consumption minus the annual design water consumption plus the annual non-potable water supply and dividing that sum by the annual baseline water consumption and multiplying it by 100%. You must prepare documentation that includes the description of non-potable source, design drawings of non-potable plumbing system, and supply and demand calculations. Step 4 is to select high-efficiency specialized appliances and process water systems where applicable. This specifically applies to only retail, healthcare, hospitality, and school projects. For retail, healthcare, and schools, 1 to 2 points can be earned, with 1 to 2 additional requirements met from the appliances and process table, which is found in the handbook. Hospitality projects can earn 1 additional point for meeting one of those requirements. Every other type of project must meet the requirements specified in the table. The following table shows all the required documentation. For fixtures, the documentation that's required includes alternative water source calculations, plumbing system drawings, alternative water use, cut sheet manufacturer's information, and indoor water use calculator. Cut sheets and manufacturer's information are required for both appliance and process, but only specifically for retail, healthcare, hospitality, and school projects. After meeting the requirements of Credit 2, Water Efficiency, we recommend exploring other related credits. These include the Water Efficiency Prereq for building level water metering, which is important for allowing staff to monitor efficiency of water use when changes are made, and the credit for water metering as well. Submetering helps to provide data to operators to better optimize water consumption. Thank you.